I'm not sure if a lot of people are aware of this in the industry, but over 25, 30 years of doing this, I have noticed automotive mechanic flat rate has integrated into the diesel world. I never thought it would. It was always an hourly rate at most places. Some places were better union shops with more of a guarantee of the labor that was there was still an efficiency expectation is what I'm getting at here. So in the diesel world, it worked where if I build out the hour and I worked and I just worked 1 hour on the clock, I was at 100%, etc. In the automotive world, it's a flat rate world where if I sell a job, so literally you've now incorporated all these hats within one person, and you've trusted him to do them all within an ethical standpoint. I will put this out here on the internet to anybody who would like to do a Zoom and debate me the merits of flat rate and how it's an ethical practice. Not if you're not an ethical person, I can't argue the point. It's great for the business and the mechanic. I'm talking about if you wanted to sleep well, knowing that you don't just go around knifing everybody, then that's the reason why people hate mechanics. So if you want to do something about addressing it, then I think that we should make the conversion to an hourly rate for technicians based on experience. I believe that experience should be noted. What is exactly expected in that job description should be given to that technician from the beginning, his tools expectation from the beginning, and the pay scale from zero to whatever he's going to be making, at the very top end. I believe that should all be divulged to him so that he can decide whether or not this is the place where he wants to hang his hat. Everyone wants to keep a guy for longer than 5 years, but nobody really wants to have a strategy on how to pay him and incentivize him along the way. And when I got to go to the boss and continually ask for a quarter, it's the wrong place. When you go to the boss and he says, here's what you need to do, and you go back and you do it, and you go back and you get $10 in a year and a half like I did at Freightliner, one of my first dealership jobs, because I was very driven, but he set out a very clear expectation and I met the bar. The problem is no one knows what the bar is, and usually the pay ceiling is so low that when you get there you don't realize it until you've been in it doing 10 years. And you got tools and expenses and you're bought in. So my point is this: if we're going to do this whole flat rate thing in the diesel industry, it needs to be a whole lot more regulated, because there's 80,000 pounds driving down the road and someone's minivan on the other side of the road carrying all their kids. Someone like me, I don't have a minivan, I got a Suburban, but you know what I'm saying. My point is, there are going to be corners cut in the diesel world that are going to cost lives. And that may not be the case in the automotive world. Generally, you would end up on the side of the road with a broken CV axle. This is not the case when 80,000 to 100,000 pounds comes tumbling down the road and it loses a brake because the line was made with a union instead of the DOT spec and the way it should have been done correctly. And someone should be paid to know that. And someone should be paid to say, I know better, and I went to this class and we can't do this kind of repair. And you should have the ability to say that to the owner of the business without them getting chastised. And if it does happen to you, just as a note, guys, write it in your story. Tell them, my boss told me to make an interim repair to a brake line. I suggested we not do that because of the DOT. And in the end, the boss, you got a paper that says he fired you because you did something safe. Okay, first off, that's documentation. Support documentation is everything. The other part is when you put it to him like that, he's probably going to go, oh, never mind, man. Let's not roll the dice. Yeah, that's what I thought. You are the be all end all because you're the duty expert. And you'll be the one who's called up on the stand. And in the end, you knew you didn't check the end play. You knew your quality of care wasn't there. So the workmanship is important as far as us selling what we do for any kind of long-term goal or long-term plan. My thought is let the dealerships and the other people who do those kind of works, like the spindle doctors and stuff, let them incur the cost of making those kinds of repairs. The only last thing I will add is for just a technician's note. If you make an interim repair, or even a small business owner, if you make a repair that you don't feel like is up to snuff and that it's probably not going to last much longer than getting them to the shop, then you need to write that on your work order. I've seen this go south many times, even in courts of law, where someone is called up and they say, did you write that on your story that you checked the end play? No, I didn't. Did you write on your story that you tightened that line and you made such and such, you brazed a line in place or whatever it was, what it was the case? You have to write that and then stipulate that it was an interim repair made to not for a long-term use. So it was only made to get them off the side of the road, and that's important. Plus, keep this in mind. If you're doing mobile repair on the side of the road, that means you don't have to do everything exactly perfect, but you should know how to do it well and be able to advise them that this is not a repair that you can count on for 1,000 more miles. You need to take that next exit after it gets you off the side of the road and call a tow truck or make provisions to get this fixed accordingly. And that needs to be documented. These words of exchange don't matter anything in the courtroom. Okay, just trying to cover your ass. Have a good day.